Graffiti Jungle. We're continuing our fashion art discourse. Just picked up a book on how to paint using oils. And so now we're going to look at color and tone. We're going to look at color and tone. That's going to be the focus for this. So color and tone, how to use oil paintings. The first part was, the materials you're going to need to get started. This is going to focus on, once you got your materials, color and tone. Color sets the mood of a painting, and tonal values. The distribution of darks and lights provide the structure. For a painting to be a success, both need to work together in harmony, especially when you only have 30 minutes to complete your composition. Understand how color works and how you can manipulate it to achieve different moods are a skill to master, or a key skill to master. In this chapter, you'll find various exercises that will show you how to use both color and tone to create paintings that you are really proud of. So again, this is called Oils by Melanie Cambridge, 30-minute. Every painting in here was painted within 30 minutes or less, which tells you to focus on the essence of the subject rather than all the key details. All right, a basic palette. Primary colors are those which cannot be mixed from any colors, okay? Primary colors are colors which cannot be mixed from any others. For example, blue, red, and yellow. If you mix any two primary colors together, in turn, you'll create purple, green, and orange, which are known as secondary colors. A simple palette containing just primary and secondary colors will help you to mix colors with more confidence and to paint quicker. Getting to know your palette will speed up your ability to mix colors successfully. Start by mixing each color with every other color in turn. Note the colors alongside each mix. Create a personal color chart. So this is the setup. So red, yellow, and blue are colors that you're not going to be able to mix together. But mixing red with blue, red with yellow, yellow with blue. So mixing red with blue, red with yellow, blue with yellow. And then those extra ones, mixing those together. That's how you start to get the other colors and other shades of colors. So start with red, blue, and yellow. From red, blue, and yellow, you'll get purple. You'll get green. And you'll get orange. And then you keep mixing from there. Complementary colors. Colors which are opposite each other on the color wheel are known as complementary colors. Red and green, yellow and purple, blue and orange. These colors contrast strongly and can be used to create vibrant effects when placed alongside each other in a painting. To understand how this works in practice, apply cerulean next to cadmium red light. Then try the same exercises with each set of complementary colors to see how strong the effect can be. The group of artists known as Fauves were well known for using color in this way. Mixing softer shades. Complementary colors are also extremely useful where you wish to soften a color. For example, French ultramarine can be a rather bright blue, but adding just a little complementary orange, the color is changed very subtly, giving you a slightly darker and grayer shade, which generally looks more natural in a landscape. I often adjust my colors in this way to avoid harsh synthetic shades in my painting. It is a particularly effective way to create shadow colors rather than by simply adding black to your mix. That is a very important thing right there. That is a very important thing right there. So, a way to produce shadows, that is very important. That is very important. That's it. We're at the 5:30 mark. Shadows. It can darken it. Complementary colors are also extremely useful where you wish to soften a color. For example, French ultramarine can be a rather bright blue, but by adding just a little complementary orange, French ultramarine can be a rather bright blue, but by adding just a little complementary orange, the color is changed very subtly, giving you a slightly darker and grayer shade, which generally looks more natural in a landscape. I often adjust my colors in this way to avoid harsh synthetic shades in my painting. It is a particularly effective way to create shadow colors rather than by simply adding black to your mix. So, the example is here. So, they painted with red, and then in this one, they painted it with red, but then add that complementary color, and now it's darker. So it adds a shading, but you're not using black to use the shading. So it's yellow, add the complementary color, add shading. Here's purple, add the complementary color, and it adds shading. Mixing grays and dark colors. Gray shades or neutral tones are an essential ingredient in making your paintings look natural. Using complementary colors to mix these neutrals rather than black and white will give you a much wider range of subtle shades and avoid the deadening effect of pure black. Gray shades mixed from blue and orange work particularly well for painting skies and clouds. To create color harmony, use the same blue for clear areas of sky that you use to mix the gray shades for the clouds. Dark colors. Using black to darken colors tends to deaden them. Instead, try mixing French ultramarine and burnt sienna in various proportions to create a selection of interesting darks. The more blue you add to the mix, the darker and closer to black the resulting color will be. Know your greens. Green is often the predominant color in a landscape, so it's a good idea to practice mixing this color successfully. Blue and yellow will mix together, making a variety of green shades. Because blue is a very influential color, the type of green you create will depend on very much on how particular blue that you use. To discover this for yourself, try the exercise below. Starting in turn with Indian yellow and lemon yellow. Mix each color first with cobalt blue and then with coryllium to produce the four greens illustrated. Sometimes the green you mix may be a little harsh and unnatural. This can be the case with coryllium and lemon yellow, but try adding a very small amount of permanent rose. The green can be softened so that it appears more muted. Practice this yourself and try to match the colors in the study below. She showed this one. This is saying that she added white. Same color for the water, and surrounding trees to harmonize the landscape with the sky above. Warm and cool colors. Reds, oranges, and yellows are generally known as warm colors, while blues, purples, and greens are cool. So this is 10. Okay. Reds, orange, and yellows are generally known as warm colors. Blues, purples, and greens are cool colors. Warm colors tend to come forward in a painting, whereas cool colors recede into the distance. You can use this warm-cool balance to create a feeling of space within your paintings. Make your background colors much cooler and add more blue to distant hues, and then your green mixes, and save your strong reds, oranges, and yellow greens for the foreground. You can see in the picture here, foreground comes forward, this part kind of recedes backwards. It is important to know that there are warm and cool versions of each color. For example, lemon yellow is cooler than Indian yellow, which contains more red pigment. Similarly, coryllium is much cooler than French ultramarine. Being aware of the color temperature of each color on your palette will help you to understand how this can affect the final color that you achieve in your mixes. These ranges of random reviews: coryllium, been the coolest, cobalt, blue, more red, and different warmer, French warmer still come. Okay. The cadmium, the warmest, it's the coolest. It's the warmest, it's the coolest. Coolest, warmest, okay. So this is the coolest, and this is the warmest. This is the coolest, and this is the warmest. So as it goes, the color is getting warmer. So this is the cool version of the color. This is the warmer version. Here's the cool version, and here as it gets warmer. The coryllium being the coolest, the cobalt contains more red, warmer, French ultramarine is the warmer still. Cadmium red light is the warmest. Cadmium red deep is the most yellow. Cadmium red deep contains more blue and therefore cooler. The permanent rose is the coolest color. This was the warmest, which I mean coryllium is the coolest. This was the warmest, this was the coolest. This was the coolest, this was the warmest. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. Working with color.